Hi. Yes. Good afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to start? Do you want to say something, or can I just go ahead?
You can go ahead.
All right. Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this online consultation. The first one. We still have another consultation. I guess in 2 weeks' time. Can you hear me well, all of you? Can you please give a sign like a thumbs up or anything that says you can hear me? All right. Good. Thank you very much for those who answered. Yes. So we have a question here. Will a video for this consultation class be recorded? Yes. This is actually we're recording now. So basically, consultation time is a time for many students to ask or clarify questions related to the content of the class, and also especially for the assessment, and to have clarification and a guidance of the assessment. So basically, this is not purely like a class, but I'll give you a brief overview again of the assessments and what are the expectations and some examples. And then you may also ask some questions along the way to clarify some of the things in preparation for your task one, assessment task one. So we have with us here also is Professor Sean, who can also answer some of your general questions related to the overall class and also the assessment. Okay, all right. So today, I'll just have to do a bit of a recap on the assessment one, especially on the looking at some of the good and not so good examples for the assessment task one. Also some example references. I'll give you some potential references that you can use, and also where to find these references, where I have presented this one during the class already. Maybe if you still have some question about the use of EndNote or other reference manager, you can ask me today. And also about the submission using on our Canvas submission link to have a similarity less than 10% as much as possible. So as low as possible, that would be the best way to submit your final report. Right, so the first one is to go back to our assessment. All right. So let's go back to the example, to the overall assessment guide. Okay, so this is the assessment guide. So has anyone already read this one? Before I go, any questions, specific questions first? Anyone, let's say Joan Gitunga, do you have any specific questions that you wish to address right now, because we have only 1 hour? Joan, you there? No. Cheng Kun?
Yes, I just wanted to, because I enrolled in the subject after the block, so I just wanted to join the session to be able to now know exactly what's going on.
Oh, right. Okay, so you're one of those people that enrolled late, yeah? Because when we check that now, the enrollment, it looks like the enrollment that is up to 55 students instead of 45. So there are 10 more students that came enrolled after the first block. So if you miss those block in the first block, Joanne, you should be able to have can review or revise that block online, yeah, on Canvas. So just to show you our modules, if you go to this, I'll just put in student view. So if you go to our Canvas on our subject page, then you'll be able to get the slides from here on campus. So you can get all the slides that we have talked during the first and second day with Professor Sean and myself on the second day. And then there's also recorded class lecture during those days. So if you look at here, there are some general lecture videos already provided. I also have provided my side for the second day is here. So the whole morning and afternoon session are also here. Although the video are just showing the slides and a little bit of the audio, but if you want to have a more detailed explanation or discussion, we also have a pre-recorded videos that I have uploaded as well from the previous year. So if you look at here, all the pre-recorded videos about what we had discussed during the first and second day of the class are all here. So you're able to find this one and also have your own revision and then what are the expectations of this class, especially on the assessments. Is that clear, Joanne?
Yes,
So
that's clear.
hopefully
Thank you.
can have access on this one. All right, great.
Thank you.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, let's go back to the assessment task one. Now, if you look at your assessment, if you go back to Canvas again, sorry about that, you go to modules. So you'll be able to have your assessment overview here, right? Okay. All right, it's just an overall view. But if you go to assignments, in the first one, you should have the assessment guide. All right, so you have your assessment report format, the guide, and also assignment scenario. So this scenario is basically what Professor Sean has already explained to you about the overall scenario of being you as a consultant. So if you go back to that scenario, page, so they are actually the scope of work. In this case, is you are employed by Sydney Water as an engineering consultant, and you should be able to prepare 3 reports. And the first report is the stakeholder engagement report, which is the first task. All right. So, but in this case, you act yourself as like a consultant, that you're able to give some sort of potential solution to a problem that is presented. So this problem is presented as a general, guide here as community engagement report at task 1. This is worth 30%. So again, this is gonna be due date on 25th of March, which is about 3 weeks from now. So hopefully you're able to start something already. We are expecting about 6,000 words here, around 12 to 15 pages. If you are using more pages, that's fine. Better to use the appendix, okay? So you can use appendix effectively. If there are a lot of figures and some tables that you wish to include, you can include that one. But please do not give us very, very long reports, like 30 pages like that, because it's just gonna be too much of thing to check. Because there are 55 students. So if you're giving about 30 pages each, that's gonna be a lot of pages to read. All right. Okay. So I'll just admit some people coming in. So we have 14 people now. Okay. So these are the sections that we are expecting from your task 1 report. Okay. So the first one, if you look at here, please follow the guide. This is the guide. So follow the formatting. So when you submit a technical report, it should look professionally made. All right. So it has to look professional. It should be able to see that even the template and the organization of the report needs to look professional. Aside from the actual discussion, aside from the actual English and presentation, the look of the overall report should look professional as well, so that it will be, as you are as a consultant. So you're going to submit this as a consultant. Now, the first part of course, you have the abstract, the summary. So you have about 250 words of that. So you can see from each section, we allotted a number of points. So this one, for example, is 5 marks. The rest are getting bigger, 15 marks. We have 15 marks. So the more important sections will have a bigger discussion there. And also there are some guide questions. So for example, in background, the first one. So our expectation for this, because we are looking for the first report to be focused on direct potable reuse. All right, so the key term here is direct potable reuse, not indirect, not about general water recycling, but more on potable. It's more for drinking purposes. Because this part here has more of issues in terms of stakeholder or community acceptance compared to other purposes of recycling or water reuse. So in this case, we would like to see a bit of a background, a short background about the water situation in Australia. Now, if you were in our class before and you were recorded videos, we gave you, with Professor Sean and myself, we give you a brief of history of what happened several years ago from the drought, millennium drought, towards the present times in terms of what are the general plans of the government to maintain water security in Australia, and especially in metropolitan Sydney. So more focus on the New South Wales part than metropolitan Sydney. So where do you get most of these examples here? So there are 2 basically main parts or main sources for this one. The first one would be the Metropolitan Water Plan, which is 2017. I think you can see it from the modules here. And if you go from here, you have the reading materials. So from the reading materials, you have a general overview. Of course, this general overview is just a guide. So where is it now? Here, Sydney Metropolitan Water Plan. So that alone, this will give you a brief background about the overall water situation in Australia from that latest water plan. But recently, there's also a new document that you're able to use. So this document has been provided as well on Canvas. So if you go here, this one, the Greater Sydney Water Strategy. So if you look at this, was published in 2022. So this Greater Water Strategy will give you a very good background and also planning from the New South Wales government about what they will do in the future in terms of maintaining water security. So please use these two main documents as part of two main references. Do not limit yourself from these only two documents, but there are two main references that you can give or you can get a lot of background information from. But please expand your resources, not only to those documents, but there are so many things from Google Scholar that you can also use, right? So if you go to Google Scholar here, then you're able to have an idea and then search this one. As I mentioned before, please, you can connect your Google Scholar again. If you connect this one in settings and then go to library links, please type in UTS library so you can link directly. So if you want to search something, just put the UTS library here. So once you search that one, it will come up like this and just check this one. So once you check that one, save that one. So now your Google Scholar page is linked to the UTS library. All right. So from here, you can search from water recycling in Australia, for example, Australia. So from here, you can search for different references that you wish to use. And you can also check on the publication date. So let's say since 2023. So there are a number or since 2020. So there are a number of references that you can use. For example, this one, water reuse and recycling in Australia, history, current situation, and future perspectives. So I think this will be a very good resource as well, or a reference to get a bit of background information about the overall water situation. All right, so you can use that one as well. So you can see from here, it is full text at UTS library. So if you click this one, you can easily get a PDF right now because you are connected to the UTS library. So now you can go over there and then just download PDF right away. So it's gonna be easier and quicker way for you to get your references. Okay, so do that for getting the references of your for the report. Now let's go back. So the first one is that one, a bit of water situation in Australia, and then literature review of the status of direct potable reuse around the world, including Sydney. But as we all know, as we already presented to you before, in Sydney, we don't have direct potable reuse, even in the whole Australia. However, there is one that is a demonstration plant in Quakers Hill that is currently looking at their potable reuse of wastewater recycling, right? So in Quakers Hill. So that could be part of the future as a demonstration plant. So you can also include that one as part of your report, including in Sydney. But most basically, please look at various projects around the world that has direct potable reuse. One good example is in Namibia in Africa. So that's one good example. Other good example is in the recent one in California here. So if you look at this guide in California, so they're looking at this draft. This is very recent in 2023. They are proposing now to have regulations for direct potable reuse. So you can have this draft as well as a potential, a source of information about their plan of other direct potable reuse projects in California, in some other parts of the world. Now, if you go back again to the Greater Sydney Water, I think in this document, there are some information about direct potable reuse all over the world, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, it's not here. All right, it's not here. Yeah, here in Sydney. So water recycling in Sydney. So this is not direct potable reuse, but you can get an idea about wastewater and water recycling. So there are different parts here. Professor Sean also has explained some part of this one in the first lecture, and also what happened in the history as well. So most of the background resources that I gave you in our class was also gotten from here in terms of what happened in the Millennium Drought. And also this one here, global locations of purified recycled water. Not all of these here are direct potable reuse, but some of these are. Some are DPR. So some in Africa, for example, some in the US. So we have to check and try to select some of these projects. Then once you have selected the projects, go back and then describe the water treatment process. How did they do it? What is the process of providing potable water, okay, for these parts of the world? So please try as much as you can. Use Google Scholar. Use the provided documents on Canvas to have this sort of general introduction. Of course, and then you provide the objectives of this report. So what is your objective for this report? After that, we go about situational analysis. Okay, so your situational analysis will be based on the direct potable reuse project. So you as a consultant, you are going to propose a DPR project in Sydney, in Australia, and then try to see the SWOT, do a SWOT analysis, the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And the best of one of the best reference that I gave you already is during our class. So during our class, I already provided you some example of SWOT analysis we did for, let me just recheck that one. Where is it? Okay, the last slide, okay? So this one. So during our class, so you can see from here, there is, this part. So there is a SWOT analysis provided for the unsuccessful reuse scheme, and also a SWOT analysis for a successful reuse scheme, which is an indirect potable reuse in Singapore. And you can build some sort of idea coming from this reference, okay? So you can check the papers, this paper here. This is the paper that I got it from, just from 2011. So you can check that reference and read through for doing the SWOT analysis in terms of direct potable reuse. Now, one of the very good reference is also from the actual stakeholder engagement. Let me just open it. Sorry, where is it now? That's not the one. I put it in online, so let me just check again. In modules, and then you go to reading materials. And then it's not here. Where did I put it? Sorry, I'll just have to check it again. Here. Okay, this document here. So this document, community and stakeholder and engagement plan. So this document is the one that they did for stakeholder engagement in the current project in Upper South Creek Advanced Water Recycling Center and Pipeline. So this is in the Western Sydney side. So this is current projects. This is an ongoing project, but they did a stakeholder analysis and engagement in 2019 until the recent years. And so from this document, I would highly suggest you read through the documents, because at the end of this document, you'll be able to see at the appendix, all right, in the appendix. So you can see a number of really good important points. So stakeholder analysis is here. All right, so if you look at stakeholder analysis, it has analyzed who are those people that are affected in this project. So basically, it's very similar of what you are actually doing. So if you go back again to our assessment guide, there is stakeholder analysis here. Of course, the situational analysis is also part of this document. Read through the document. It's quite long. But if you read through this document, you will get a lot of good ideas and something that you can also apply for a direct potable reuse. So this part here is not a direct potable reuse. It's just a water recycling plant, but the means and the approaches of stakeholder engagement is very much similar, but you just have to tweak it to have more focus on direct potable reuse. So for example, here, some stakeholder groups are First Nations, some people like indirectly impacted communities or the residents, some culturally diverse and linguistic communities. Those we have different language. There are language barriers. So these are the types of stakeholder. So this type of table, you should able to include this one here as well in your stakeholder analysis, okay? But please focus yourself more on DPR project. And then after that, look at and make a stakeholder matrix. So stakeholder matrix, as I explained before, looks like this, very similar to our previous discussion in the class. So basically this one. This is what I want to see as a stakeholder matrix. Of course, included in that is the table that shows basically who are the stakeholders, what kind of groups, who are the specific individuals, and of course, the level of interest and level of influence. I have explained this one in the class. So once you have identified these groups, then this level of influence and interest, you have to plot this one. Okay, so when you plot this one in our matrix, you can see here level of influence and level of interest here. So this part here is where, you know, the most important stakeholders and most of your effort should focus. All right, so look at this part here. So they are the highest. So this quadrant is where you need to get most of your effort to convince them. So once you have identified this one, what happens next? What happens next is you have identified the most important stakeholders. Then from there, you need to describe and develop what is your approach for each stakeholder. For example, in residents, what would be the approach in the residents? Like, for example, interview, or you can go for town hall meetings, something like that. So describe the activities that you wish to engage and how you will engage this type of stakeholders, all right? Describe your approaches to monitor and evaluate the effectiveness of your state engagement strategy. Okay, so this is a very important section that you need to complete. So after that, you have the conclusion, so what you have learned, and your final analysis. And this one is also important. I put 15 marks for this one, reflection. Okay, so reflect. So when you do reflection, you just don't describe what you did, all right? You have to describe what you have learned, you know, and what you will change in the future. So this is more of total reflection. It's not like just describing the activities. So most of the time, many students are just describing activities. So that's not a really deep reflection. It's more of giving meaning and having to reflect on what you will, you know, what you have learned and what you will do in the future. Not only during the preparation, but on the topic itself. Okay. So once you have done that, also reflect on the use of generative AI. So Professor Sean is also gave you already in the first day about trying to encourage you to use generative AI as well, but do it in an ethical way. All right. So you have to use generative AI, and we are expecting you to use generative AI, but make sure that you are also contributing your own you have your personal contribution, not only generative AI like ChatGPT to make the report and submit it. No, it doesn't work that way. You have to contribute, and you have to make sure that what the Gen AI is, you know, the Gen AI is used as a sort of a starting point, not the final product. It's a starting point to generate ideas, to learn something and to have some other ideas, and then make your own contribution and make the whole report. So you have to reflect on that one, how it has helped you in your insights and perspectives in generating this report and in finalizing as well. All right, so that's a very important aspect for reflection. And of course, references. I would expect about minimum of 15 references. And regardless, the UTS, we are asking APA format, but you know, APA, you can use APA, but as long as you are very consistent in your formatting, that's fine. So you can use APA format or other formats, but be consistent throughout the report that you are using the same format. all right? And make sure that the reference list is also complete details. So now that's why it's important that we are encouraging you to use EndNote or RefWorks or other form of reference manager so that it will help you, make a more technical and more formal way of citation and referencing, all right? So that would be about 5 marks, at least 15 references. Then other assessments of the overall look and the flow and the presentation is about 10 marks, okay? So in order for you to have an idea about exactly what are the expectations, the quality of the work, please refer to some exemplars, all right? So if you go here, you go back to exemplars here, task 1 exemplars. So if you click this part here, you should be able to see some good examples and not so good examples. And even there's an introduction to EndNote here, but these are some of the things that you need to look at. What are the expectations in terms of quality, okay? So in that case, for example, let's look at some example. Oh, sorry, before we go to examples, may I ask any clarification or questions so far on the task, on the general task for task 1? Anyone? Okay, there's a chat. I suggest greater wisdom will try over because it's better and newer. That's correct. You're right with that one. That's a newer version. That's correct. Any other question? Clarification so far? None? Okay. So hopefully everything is clear so far. So let's look at good examples. All right. How does it look like for a good example? Okay. Yeah, okay. I just covered some of the names. This is an old example. Let me check a newer one. Maybe this is a newer one. All right. Yeah, so this is a newer one. This is a good example in a way because the way it is presented and the depth of analysis is good. However, one aspect that is lacking from this presentation, of course, you can see from here, the way it is presented is more very technical and very professional. But one aspect probably is on the overall formatting as well on the use of figures. So I suggest utilize the use of figures if they are necessary because it could help in their overall explanation. So let's look at here. This one, one issue here is in terms of formatting. So you can see even a simple one, the font type is different. So please make sure before you submit. Although this is generally a good example, but the formatting itself has some issues. Yeah, it has some executive summary. I just black out some sections, but generally, what it did here is a very good explanation about the history and overall water situation in Australia. There's a really good one here. They mention about the previous ones and what are the current sources of water and the future plan. The main issue that I have here is basically the lack of figures. There's not much figures here. But overall, this is a good one, but I would like to see some figures to help out in the discussion part and to help in the support the discussions. Now, they provided a number of examples, like in Namibia. There are some examples in other sites country as well. So they provided a table to that, showed some of the details about that, and also what kind of how to say the type of treatment process. Now, this part here, I was looking for some schematic diagram as well. So please provide 1 or 2 schematic diagram to support the discussion on the treatment process as well. So these are some of the current technologies. They have mentioned about the different processes as well. So a schematic diagram would help really show the whole process in itself rather than mentioning a number of different processes, for example. Okay, so they provided a number of different things about some specific process in that treatment train. Then there's a SWOT analysis. So these were provided about a matrix, the SWOT analysis. So we have the strength, weakness, the opportunity, and the threats. So they have also made that one and provided specific discussion on each. So please do not only provide a table. So if you provide like this only, a SWOT table, for example, and then you are not giving a discussion about that, then it's not very strong. So that's why if you provide a table, make sure you have supporting discussion on what are those specific strengths and opportunities and connect them with your project on TPR. All right. So after that, so there's a strength opportunity relationship, strength threats like that. And then of course the stakeholder analysis. So this is good because it shows the different types. It gives me a overall summary of the various stakeholders in a table type. Then once it is identified, then they prioritize it in a matrix. Okay, so what are those most important ones and the least important ones, for example. So once you have identified the very important stakeholders, then try to give an explanation on how are you going to approach them. So, okay, so they describe about the type of stakeholder that they're dealing with, especially the most important ones. So the brief description of that one, and there's also about opposition groups. And then after that, the engagement and evaluation strategy. All right, so each stakeholder will have specific approaches. All right, and also this is a good example also showing, you know, the kind of resistance or opposition of the various stakeholders that were identified, and then engagement strategies. All right, in a table manner, in table type, and also discussion type. All right, so this is a very good discussion. So I really like the way it was presented here. And of course, this one is an extra thing. He made more of a network, but I don't expect you to do the same. But if you can more expand about your various stakeholder, that would be great as well. All right, so this is a different type and a summary of this engagement strategy. All right, so after that, there's reflection. So in this case, in the previous years, reflection is what's a little bit shorter, but I would expect from your side at least 1 to 2 pages of reflection, or 1.5 pages would be great to showcase, you know, how you have learned, and also to include some of the aspects related to generative AI. All right, and these are the references. This is generally good formatted, but I could say that there's some formatting needs needs to be better in terms of the overall format, but the number of references are good. The publication years and all are all within good dates in terms of new ones and old ones together. So if you are using references, make sure they are also newer references would be better. So that would be state of the art of that specific topic. Okay, so that's a really good one. Of course, there are some other good ones that I have mentioned here. So they use, this one is a good one as well. In previous year, they make some figures which will help. Make sure when you use figure, make sure that the figure is important. It's something that you can discuss. Do not just use figure just for the sake of putting figure. If they are useless, don't put it. So they should be related to what you're discussing. And also make sure that you are citing your figures if they are not yours. Okay, make sure they are cited. So this is a schematic diagram of a treatment train, for example. That's good. And also, yeah, SWOT analysis, I just block it out. So these are different sections of SWOT analysis and discussion about that. And also, yeah, very similar to the previous paper, but this has more figures and tables. What is not good? This one, not good example. If you look at here, first impression is not professionally made. Yeah, nothing shouts any professional thing here. If you look at here, there's not much in terms of sectioning, nothing much. The depth of discussion is very general. Okay, there's nothing really in-depth there. It looks like they're just re-reporting what has been already in the main reference. And also there's no citation for each of these figures that they're using. There's no in-depth analysis. You can see from that. It's very simple. Okay, so please try. That's why we have provided you a guide question so that you'll be able to be guided on what kind of discussion you should be inserting or providing in those specific sessions. So please follow this guide. All right. So that is a borderline example. I think there's another borderline example here. Only one I show here. This one also. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, from the way it looks like, yeah, there is some kind of background there. I think the background is not very expanded. Okay, so very, very short background here. Literature review is just very short as well. And although there is a schematic diagram, it was not well explained. All right. So please try to put effort in explaining things. That will help a lot in the overall flow and storyline of your report. Okay. So these are, yeah, look at here. You can see from this stakeholder matrix, it's not even very clear what does it mean here. So there's C, A, B, F like that. Although I understand it refers to some people here or some groups, but it would be better to present it in such a way that is easier to understand. All right. And also explain and discuss each one of them. So this is not so good report as well. And also very, very few references. You can see from there, very, very few. So you can expand that further. Okay. So yeah, so generally, those are the expectations, and all of the relevant documents are here. The reading materials and other potential references are all here as well. I will add them more. As we go along, I can add more references here. But please make sure that you also try to search on other databases, like Google Scholar would be a best resource. And you can easily get that one here, even in terms of stakeholder analysis or stakeholder engagement for potable reuse. I think you will be able to get good reference from searching from Google Scholar as well and connect it to UTS library. Okay, so those are just the overall view again of the expectations for your task 1. All right, so I guess yeah, I'll return to asking if you have some questions or clarifications from the 16 people here online. So don't be afraid. Please ask, because sometimes, we feel like some general questions you don't want to ask, but just ask anyway, so that everybody will maybe have similar questions with you and you will be clarified. Okay, let me ask some people here. 16 people, very quiet. Yam, any questions or clarifications, Yam? Okay, Manish? Okay, there's somebody.
No, sir, thank you.
Sorry, nothing. Okay. How do I from Kak Long Hip Nguyen? How do I import references from images, figures I found? Do I have to do it manually? How do I import references from images? Okay, look, the images and figures usually are part of a paper or a publication, right? So for example, let's say this one. So if you're looking at Google Scholar again, so if I search this one, so I already opened this one. So that this paper is this paper, okay? So that paper, so for example, I need to use this one, okay? But if you look at this figure, is actually the original source of this figure is actually from this source, Bureau of Meteorology. Okay, so make sure that you're also referring to the right original source when you source something. So let's look at a different figure that is sourced from here. Okay, so okay, these are all source. So let's just assume that this figure is from this paper, okay? The original source. So you want to reuse this figure, right? So you want to copy this figure. So what you will do for citation and reference is basically use the citation for this paper. Okay, how do you do that? First, you can do that by opening this one in the original database, or just cite. Okay, here, there's a word cite. If you click cite, you can use EndNote. Okay, so if you open EndNote, if you then I will, for example, I put it there, I open it, okay, and I will open this one in my EndNote. Make sure that you have downloaded EndNote and installed in your computer. Aside from EndNote, you can have also Reference Manager. Okay, so I'll put it here, for example. Okay, it's not reading my, sorry. Okay, sorry, I did not install the new update. Anyway, so once you do that, who's the one asking? Kak, all right. Make sure you have installed EndNote. Okay, so in this one, I need to update my setup. So I have not done that yet. Okay. And then once you install EndNote, cite that one, Kak, from that reference paper. All right. Do you have EndNote, Kak?
Yes, I do.
You have long. Do I have? Can I call you Long? Is better.
You can call me Johnny.
You're Johnny. Okay, yeah, I remember you, Johnny. Yeah. So do you have installed EndNote in your Word or in your computer?
Yes, I have been citing well, but except for the figures that I'm using, not from Google Scholar, and I don't know how to cite them. Like I'm using from the Bureau of Meteorology source as well, but I think I have to manually add them or something.
Yes. If you are using website, then you have to manually cite them. Okay. If you are citing from publication like this, it's easy. All right. You can cite it directly from website. Unfortunately, some websites, they have some automatic download of the citation, but most of the website, they don't. So you have to write them and add them in your EndNote manually. You can add in EndNote as well manually, and then it will connect to your paper. Now, we highly encourage to use a reference manager. It could be EndNote, it could be RefWorks or other things. However, some students find it very difficult. So you can do it manually, but however, manual putting of references, if there are too many, will be hard work for you. So that's why we wish you could also learn how to use reference manager like EndNote so that it will be much faster and better for you. Okay? Long, I'm not sure exactly because my EndNote is not working right now, but if you can send me something, if it's not yet, fixed in your part, let me know so I can help you out how to fix that one. Okay. Long. Johnny.
Also, I tried downloading the source for Greater Water Sydney. However, I think the export comes out wrong. Can you check it for me? Because like it only shows Greater Water Sydney strategy and don't show authors or year or anything.
You mean this file?
Yeah, I downloaded the citation from Google Scholar, but like I think it's wrong.
Okay. Yeah, I understand. In EndNote, you can make some changes in EndNote to make it right, but you will need to study a bit on that. It's very simple, but you need to look at how to use in EndNote. Let me check if I can open my EndNote here. But something was wrong. Yeah, I need to install just today. Yeah, I can't. We can do that, Johnny. Anyway, you are in my other class. I will try to explain to you in my other class on how to do that, and maybe make a video to upload here on this Canvas site as well. All right, Johnny?
Yes, thank you.
All right, no worries. Any other clarification or comments?
Yes, how do I use Turnitin?
How do you use Turnitin? Okay. It's in your submission. Is this your first year? First time?
Yes.
Okay. If you go to assignments, yeah, if you go to assignments, this one, go to your any of the tasks, let's say task 1, and then when you submit your assessment, so this assessment is I think this is configured to be you can submit as many times until the due date. All right. So when you submit your assignment here, automatically, when you submit this one, there will be a Turnitin result for you, Johnny. You can get that one. You will receive a Turnitin result, or how many percentage is similarity. Johnny?
Yes.
Yes. So once you submit from here, you will be able to get a Turnitin because this is connected to Turnitin, the submission of assignment. Hello?
Sorry, let me check for a bit.
Yeah. There's another question. What format do you prefer for references, UTS Harvard or APA? Recently, we just use APA. Asia? Just APA.
Thank you.
Okay. DPR project of any waterways plant should be anyone or only from Australia? No. All right. Let's go back again to the guideline. All right. So the scope for this project, basically, we are looking at building a DPR project in Australia, basically in Sydney. So you are, as a consultant, the whole report will be focused on that one. As a consultant, you are proposing to build a DPR project in New South Wales or in Sydney, okay? But in the background part, you need also to look at DPR project around the world, okay? So that's why in your question, DPR project, how to connect, oh no, that's a different picture. DPR project of any water treatment plant should anyone or only from Australia. There's no DPR plant in Australia yet that is, working as a direct potable reuse. So we cannot have that specific one. There's a demo plant, but there's no operational direct for drinking water. Yeah. So indirect, yes, but not for direct potable. So I hope I have answered your question, Vidi. All right. There's another question. How could you please show how to connect Google Scholar with UTS library? Okay. How to connect? Go back to go to your Google Scholar page, log in with your UTS email. Okay. I think everybody has that. You can log in using that one. So once you are logged in, go to this here, to these 3 lines at the upper left. Go to settings. All right. Go to settings. Who is this guy? Srivesh Navi.
Yes.
I hope you're following.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, go to settings, go to library links, and then type in UTS library. And then search. So once you search that one, it should show this one, UTS library. Then check this one, check. And then save. Okay, so once you do that, you are now, the Google Scholar is connected to UTS library. So you can see this part every time you search, there should be full text at UTS library, something like this. Okay, and then you're able to get that PDF automatically without going to the UTS library website. Or it will connect first to the UTS library, then download PDF. So would be faster and easier way to get PDF files. Okay, so Srivani, did you do that?
Yeah. You can call me Shri. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Got it.
Yeah, okay. Anything else?
So do I just click submit and then it will check with Turnitin?
Yeah, it will. So don't do that now yet. Don't do that one, Johnny. Better to have some homework, a write-up, for submission, yeah?
Wait, but then I can submit again, right?
You can submit again, but turn it in. who has a idea here, because I did not submit it like that, but who has an idea about Turnitin results every time you submit? Anyone in the student side? Rifakat, yeah. So Rifakat, can you just mention about your experience?
Yes, in my first semester, I tried like this Turnitin similarity. Then later on, I again submit, and the similarity was 100%.
Okay.
And then I have to mail the professor and sort it out.
All right. So in Johnny's case, you submitted now. That's fine because there's no write up there. You did not have something. So if you submit the same thing later on with the same write up, then that would show high similarity now. So when you submit, I think for student side, the Turnitin may only show one time for submission, but you can resubmit your work as a final submission. I might try to see if I can change something about Turnitin result here. Johnny, just to be sure, I think I may try to confirm it with you later on. I will make some changes in the editing here and see if we can do it multiple times in Turnitin. Okay, so just yeah, so this is unlimited type, and then Turnitin. Yeah, okay, so Turnitin here, immediate. Okay, I'm not sure. Professor Sean, you have some idea about this Turnitin?
I believe that whenever you submit, you can submit many times, and then I can see that every submission for the similarity.
Yeah.
So, okay, if you think the 100%, definitely, yeah, it's a previous submission overlap, but I don't see that kind of the 100%. But if it is 100%, yeah, we will double check the first submission and second submission. So making sure that when you submit, if you have a second submission 100%, so you can make a note, also send the email to the lecturers. Okay, you submit 2 times and then you have found out the 100%, but it's not the 100%. But I'm sure that it will not show such a way. From my experience, even though they have a several submission, I didn't see the 100% from my experience.
Yeah.
So I have a little bit different from the Shurabi's opinion. So okay, in this case, yeah, you double check. Also, you don't have to only check from the assignment. There is a way to check the turn-in without the submission, isn't it? So we will see that. Leonard, can you please figure it out from the Turnitin, whether without submission, I'm sure the student can check for their assignment similarity. But can we ask our maybe Canvas people whether we can have a method to follow without any assignment? That's what I understand.
Yeah.
So can you figure it out and how we can send the email to everybody if they are really interested? They double check from the different situation. Otherwise, I'm sure that if we did 100%, yeah, we will definitely look at carefully from your previous version, and then because we can see all the different similarity for several submission your assignment.
Yeah.
So we will let them know whether they can double check without the submission of assignment for the turn-in similarity.
Okay. Yeah. I'll check that one. I think we can have a separate link for that.
I think so. Yeah, you should have. I have experienced some students use that.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Who was that? Whose question was that? I forgot that question. From Johnny. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll get back to you, Johnny. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
one more thing. Once I'm like done but need some final checking, can I send it to you for final check just like the other subject?
I have to talk with Professor Sean and Dr. Shirov about that. So Professor Sean, they were asking about draft checking. Are we allowing to have a draft checking for this? Maybe for this task one only, because the other two tasks are calculation. So calculations are different. You're on mute.
Draft checking, yes, if you want to, yeah, you can submit to the lecturer, and then we can provide
General feedback.
general as well as if missing some important point, yeah, let them focus on more discussion, more tables, figures, and then
Yeah.
we can provide. Yeah.
Okay, that's great then. Yeah, Johnny. So we can have that one. Maybe for this time only one time, because there are too many students now, 55 students. Only one time submission for general feedback. Draft with 0 mark. So that's 0 mark to just a draft, and then we give you a feedback, and then you can have your final submission. Is that fine, Johnny?
Yes, thank you.
All right, great. Yeah. Yeah, I think anyone else? Okay. I think there's none. Yeah, thank you very much for coming today. We'll have another consultation. You still have chance to ask questions or clarifications later on for the second consultation, which is 2 weeks from now. But in any case, anytime, if you have some questions, just send us email and we'll respond to you. All right, thank you very much. Professor Sean, you want to say something before they go? Yeah.
Thank you, and then see you very soon again.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a nice
Thanks.
day.
Bye.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.